So we all know wine pairs great with meats and cheeses, you know, adult snacks. But have you ever wondered whether wine pairs great with childhood snacks? To find out, we're gonna taste all of these childhood snacks with a wine. But we're not gonna taste just any wine. We're tasting this bad boy. This is Ace of Spades by Armand de Brignac, a company owned by none other than multi-billionaire hip-hop legend Jay-Z. This is a $300 bottle of champagne. But here's the thing, I'm not rating. We all know what these things taste like. The purpose of this isn't to be a pissing contest to see whether Oreos are better than Nutter Butter. The answer, of course, is Oreos. But instead, we're trying to taste whether pairing Oreos with Ace of Spades improves the overall experience. That's what we're rating. All right, so before we jump in, I think it's important that we take a minute to talk about wine pairings in general. Like, how do they work? Whenever we're trying to set out to pair food and wine, what is the approach that people take? Well, ultimately, there's two general approaches. You're either trying to build congruence or contrast. When we're trying to build congruence, that means we're trying to find a wine with similar taste and flavor profiles as the food that we're pairing it with. So as a great example would be like, what could possibly pair with like a chocolate cake? If you were to pair it with a sweet wine, it needs to be really sweet. It needs to be sweeter than the chocolate cake. If it does, then congruence is built. The two will work together to build this wonderful taste in your mouth. Okay, contrast on the other hand is honestly a lot more interesting. It's whenever we're trying to find a wine that has an opposite taste and flavor experience so that it actually ends up providing this beautiful harmony in your mouth. A perfect example of this is whenever you pair something fatty, oily, heavy, rich with something light, bright, and acidic. Imagine like a morning's Eggs Benedict with Béarnaise sauce, that rich, creamy, buttery sauce, and then the crisp, acidic, light effervescence of a champagne. Those two are gonna blend together in a really harmonious way to make the experience of both better. That's what we're looking for. That's gonna be a pairing well done. All right, let's do it. So before we get into the tasting, we need to quickly get a baseline for this wine. God, this wine smells spectacular. It has the most gorgeous depth, a touch of bakery bread sweetness, like happiness in a glass. It's bright, it's floral, like honeysuckle with little green apples and pears dancing around. Yeah, that's pretty lovely. It is just such a fantastic glass of wine. I'm gonna give my hat to Jay-Z. I'm not gonna just take my hat off for him like a normal person would. I am gonna give my hat to Jay-Z because this is a fantastic champagne. It's really, really excellent. So at its core, the wine itself is going up damn near the top of the tier list. This is an A wine. It's just shy of being S tier, being absolute God tier. This is one of the best champagnes I've ever had in my life, and I think that anyone who tries it would really, really enjoy it. I have a feeling this is gonna be a great pairing. It's gonna work on the concept of contrast. We've got something that is heavy, oily, salty. This is gonna provide some sweetness, some acidity. I think it's gonna be pretty good. Let's do it. Okay, so ultimately, I'm a little surprised. It's not as cohesive and fantastic as I thought it might be. Like, they're not hurting each other, they're not helping each other, they're just happening next to one another. So in the grand scheme of things, this is not that interesting of a pairings, but ultimately, if I'm gonna put this on the tier list, this is a D. Can't imagine anyone really tracking this down to do it, but you know, it's fun. It's fun to do it, and boy, I love these things. All right, up next are the one and only Chicken McNuggets. Oh, sweet baby Jesus, am I excited about these. Man, who doesn't have memories about these little completely generated blobs of chicken? These are like 3D printed chicken. I don't know why this one has a brown spot on it. I'm gonna go ahead and choose another one. There we go. This one doesn't seem to be cursed with the plague. This is shooting for contrast. There's no chance this is gonna work on a congruency standpoint because these aren't similar, because this is a fatty, oily, deep fried thing. This is a light, zesty, delicious thing. Let's see, maybe it works together and we should all be eating McNuggets with $300 champagnes. I gotta say, this is okay. Boy, I wish it was amazing. Like, it does pair. Like, you're starting to get the experience of two things helping one another to build something better than they are on their own. But it's such a weak pairing. Like, it's just starting to maybe try, but it never really gets there. Yeah, so ultimately, I gotta say, this is at best a C pairing, and so I probably wouldn't recommend you waste your time too much with it. So with that, let's move on. All right, check out these little baby girls, cheesy nuggets. Next up, we've got Cheetos. Man, I really like Cheetos. I think that they're slightly underrated. So this is a bizarre pairing. If it's gonna work on the concept of contrast, where maybe these are so fatty, salty, and umami that it matches well with the light sweetness and acidity and zippiness of this wine. Those two might contrast together and provide something really pretty. Or it might be totally gross. Let's find out. Man, I really wanted something here. Like, I really wanted to give you something magical. It had a flicker. It was the faintest flicker that it was working, and then it absolutely like nosedived into the side of a mountain. Really hard to say that this is worth your time. Like, it's full for sure, full stop, D tier. And it makes me think that maybe cheese, totally artificial processed cheese, and $300 champagne has a place in our hearts. Who knows? Lunchables, charcuterie for babies. I think this is gonna work. Now granted, I don't really think of champagne and charcuterie boards like this per se, but I just think the oh wow, this is all so much weirder than I remember. This is so not correct. Like, it's just not actually ham. It's like wants to be ham, but the best it can be is ham. Just a classic little charcuterie bite. Let's see if this is what I think it is, which is just basically hanging out with your friends and having a meat and cheese plate. So I think it's be a good pairing. As expected, it's pretty good. It's not so much helping each other as much as it just makes sense. I wouldn't say that either of these are benefiting one another as much as they're not getting in each other's ways, and you're just kind of free to enjoy them both. So it's a C pairing for sure, but I also want to comment that this is so much worse than I expected. This is a comedy routine of what people think meat tastes like inside of a parody of like a meat making factory. That's not even a place. That doesn't make sense. The point is, this isn't ham. This is ham. Ham. All right, check out these little devils. Oh yeah. I love these things. They're so addicting, right? And you're aware that they're hot. They're not crazy hot or anything. I like hot food, so these aren't like hot, but they just have that undeniable ability to whisper to you like, the only way to make this less hot is to eat more of me. I actually think that the way that this pairing could work would be on the concept of congruence. If the wine is the thing that is stronger from a congruent standpoint, it kind of wins and it pulls back the old flavor, brings a new one, and then there's like a lingering pleasantries of what was there before. So this also could be totally disgusting. It is Flamin' Hot Cheetos after all. Let's do it. I honestly can't believe I'm saying this. This is a fantastic pairing. This is so expressive and bright, and this is also immediately harsh because it's highly acidic. And you've just kind of like scratched your tongue open with sandpaper by eating these Flamin' Hot little devils. But that acid is quickly transmuted, and what's left is this, all the lingering pleasantries of this wine. You get this totally wild ride on your palate. If you are drinking $300 champagne, you honestly owe it to yourself to pick up a bag of Flamin' Hot Cheetos on your way home. I think you're gonna really enjoy it because this is an A pairing. It's really, really good. Up next is the legend. We all know it. We've all been drunk, and these little babies are just like little saviors. Hi there, would you like to eat me and have the best time ever? And it's like, abso-fucking-lutely I would. So if this pairing is gonna work, it's gonna work on the concept of contrast. The salty cheesiness of this work with the sweet, effervescent, acidic, bright zinginess of that. I think I said zingy multiple times in there. Man, I'm really disappointed to say that this sucks. My mouth hates me for having done it. It tastes medicinal, just like total yuck fest. You don't mix, which I'm a little surprised about. Honestly, I would have thought Jay-Z would have had my back on this one. I feel like he's a man who probably is into Doritos. Yeah, I don't know why I get that vibe. Like he's just partying. People who party like totally eat Doritos. This is a bad pairing. This is an F pairing. You should not mix $300 champagne with nacho cheese Doritos. Moving on. I thought they were called cheesier. They're not. All right, up next we have these little pockets of joy. My goodness, I freaking love Oreos. I adore them. This is one of those foods that once I start, I cannot stop. It's pure ecstasy. Yeah, these, like Oreos to me are like a quasi-religious experience. If these are gonna work, which I am struggling to even understand on what level, like they're not really contrasty, they're not really congruent. All right, I don't think this is gonna work at all. Oh God, I love Oreos. Let's find out. Man, I can't believe I'm saying this. It's not terrible. It's not working, but it's also not terrible. I don't think they're doing each other any favors. And it's maybe a touch worse than if you were to have them completely separately, but there's a moment of harmony that exists somewhere in there, and it's fleeting, and you shouldn't do this, but it's not terrible. So it's a D, and if you have some Oreos and you have $300 champagne open, you might as well just do it. You know you're probably going to, so just do it. Just do it. All right, up next we have Lay's Sour Cream and Onion Potato Chips, probably one of the most divisive chips of all time. People out there love these so much, I feel like they'll rob an orphanage for them. Don't do that. Don't be an orphanage robber. Yeah, I'm into these. I like them. I like how salty and umami they are. I think on the concept of contrast, this is kind of the closest I feel like to actually tasting like real food in some capacity. Yeah, let me know in the comments if you agree with that sentence. So maybe the fact that this will work on a congruence pairing, simply from them both tasting like food. Because boy, some of these things don't taste much like food. Oh, they look like food. Got little herbs on them. Bon appetit. You know, that's decent-ish. This is middling at best. Like, I can't tell if it's helping or hurting. Like, struggle to even say that it's a C, because if it was a C, I think it's clear that the pairing is somewhat successful. This is going in a lot of different directions at the same time, so I can't totally say you should do it, but it's interesting. You won't hate it. So I think it's like a D. All right, up next we have Lay's barbecue potato chips. I actually think this is gonna work out really well because you already pair wine with barbecued food. You know, you might not think of champagne as the first thing you'd consider pairing. I think that belongs more in the realm of heavier red wines, the Malbecs and the Cabernet Sauvignons of the world, even Zinfandels. But that doesn't mean that this might not work. The smoky, salty sweetness, like this just has the real food kind of taste profile going on. And I think that's gonna help a lot. Let's give it a go. You can do it. That's actually working. This is a very interesting pairing because the smokiness of this actually floats beautifully on top of this wine. It really comes together pretty nicely. By no means the most amazing pairing I've ever tasted. Yeah, my mouth is pretty happy right now and it's kind of like, dude, eat more. My mouth is like, dude, bro, eat more. But ultimately, it's a B. Right now, my mouth is excited about it, but I wouldn't say that it's found a place of everlasting happiness. I haven't touched nirvana by tasting these two things together. It was fun and it is worth it. So if you happen to open up one of these expensive wines, try some barbecue potato chips with it. All right, moving on. Up next we have chili cheese Fritos. I feel like this is cheating. Frito pies are the real childhood thing. Listen, I'm not gonna lie. This just came in a multi-pack. I don't have any emotional connection to this flavor. Like regular Fritos, sure. I've never even seen this, so I don't know if this is normal, typical, new, but I'm assuming this came after and that the Frito pie is the, you know, kind of smart idea. But if it's the opposite, then Frito pies are lame. Like, that's not very clever. But if it's gonna work, chili cheese, it's gonna work on the concept of contrast because there's not much chili or cheese inside of that wine, that's for sure. Okay, so while I have no emotional connection to this, as far as foods to pair with $300 champagnes, this one's pretty good. There's definitely like a cumin-y taste to this. It is very reminiscent of like taco seasoning mix that you might use on Taco Tuesdays with your family. The Ortega taco sauce. And then pairing it with this wine, kind of almost smoky note, that earthy smokiness of cumin. It floats to the top. It feels like it is helping. It's like kind of lifting up all of the flavors, and it ultimately tastes better. My mouth's pretty happy. It definitely wants to have more of this, and so it's working. It's not the best pairing on planet Earth, but if you are a person who has $300 champagne open and also these in your pantry, then it's worth your time. This is a B. This is a B pairing any day of the week. It's really pretty good. All right, up next we have the McDonald's Big Mac. You know, I'm sneaking this in under childhood foods. I feel like it might have been the size of some children's heads, but no doubt it shaped our childhoods. There's no doubt about it. It maybe still does shape the lives of some of you out there in TV land. This just looks so sad. I do think this will be a good pairing though. On the concept of contrast, this is rich. This should provide some acid, should like that concept of cutting through the acid, and hopefully provides a little bit of contrast that makes the whole experience better. So let's find out. Here we go. You know, that isn't very good. I'm not talking about just the Big Mac. The Big Mac's okay. There's something about these things that's just like eternally pleasant in some really bizarre way, but it doesn't work because honestly, this is a beautiful, brilliant wine that tastes incredible, but this is so manufactured that it just wins. Like, it just makes this taste medicinal and weird. There's just nothing about this that complements this. This is an F pairing. All right, up next we have a bowl of molten hell. This is Spaghettios. I don't want to eat this. I feel like these suck. I don't like Spaghettios. I don't want to do this, but I will tell you if it's a good pairing because I love you. So let's get in here. Spaghettios, yay. Oh, Christ. Also, I bought the ones without meatballs. I didn't know which one was more common. Like people who grew up, like which did you grow up with? Did you grow up with the regular Spaghettios or the ones with the meatballs in it? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, here we go. I'm stalling. I don't want to eat these because they remind me of sweet ketchup paste. Oh my God. Those are terrible. Oh, fuck you. That's really good. Oh man. Hold on, fuck, I don't want to do this, but This is an absolutely fantastic pairing. I am not even kidding you. It is the definition of what food and wine pairing can be. I do not like this. I don't want to eat this on its own. And I love this wine, but when I drink the wine immediately after eating this, I'm left with a very pleasant taste. Before drinking the wine, I do not have a pleasant taste in my mouth. I have a taste of like mechanically separated Spaghettio part. But you have that awful taste. And you know, water would just kind of soften it. It doesn't really get rid of it. But if you drink this wine, it changes it into something really cool. This is fucked up, but this is an A pairing. It's not God tier. It's not the most amazing pairing ever to exist. It's not champagne and oysters, which is chef's kiss. This is really, really good though. Okay, but let's dissect. Let's learn something of this. What did we learn? So this is a sweet, vinegary, kind of acidic dish, right? Like its primary component is sweetness. So for this to be working, that must mean that the sweetness and the sourness of this is actually a little bit greater than the Spaghettios, but just a touch. It's gotta be like just a little bit. I have a feeling Jay-Z was responsible for this. He's just in the lab with the Armand de Brignac guys, and he's like pushing them to make it taste good with Spaghettios. They're like, Jay, it doesn't work that way. And he's like, it's got to work that way. I appreciate that, Jay. This fucking rocks, brother. Up next, we have Nutter Butters, perhaps the most fun-named food of all time. Nutter Butters, Nutter Butters, Nutter Butters. I love Nutter Butters.
I Nutter Butters by the Nutter Butter shore.
I think that there's a pretty good chance this could work. Okay, there's some complexity inside of a Nutter Butter. That is that earthiness that comes from peanuts. You know, it's not just all sweetness. I think that's what people are looking for when they go for a Nutter Butter. So let's find out. Should you pair $300 champagne with Nutter Butters? Oh God, they're so freaking hilarious too, that they look like peanuts. These are cute. They're adorable. This is a cute snack. Okay, this one actually is pretty good. The Nutter Butters do have this underlying current of richness in your mouth, but the champagne is just like clashing with that experience. They're fighting in your mouth. But in this case, it's almost like the Nutter Butters are providing this base and the champagne is able to cross over top and deliver a different tasting experience. There's some clashing happening there at the gates, as it were, or at the bridge, but it's pretty good. I think it's pretty interesting, and if you have all this available, it's probably worth your time, because it's a B for sure. This is pretty good, it's interesting, not the best, but if you have it, give it a shot. All right, moving on. Up next we have Chip Ahoy, because of, you know, Morty Seinfeld. I love whenever he calls him, he's looking for a Chip Ahoy. So yeah, Chips Ahoy. So if this pairing works, it's gonna work on the concept of congruence, where the sweetness of these cookies might pair well with the natural sweetness of this wine, but my instinct tells me that this is not sweet enough. Oh man, these never age. This is what they've looked like forever, and I'm pretty sure they made all of them that have ever existed back in 1945. Come on now, see, this here's a cookie. Boy, I hate being right, he said totally. Oh no, I hate being right. Yeah, but in this case, I really do hate being right. This isn't good at all as a food pairing. It's honestly terrible. They are fighting each other the entire time. And what's left in my palate is like somehow medicinal. So don't do this, run away from it. You should probably stick to milk for your Chip Ahoy, but this is an F any day of the week. This is a bad pairing. Don't do it. Let's move on. All right, look at these little babies. Oh, Goldfish. I feel like I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this comment, but like, I feel like these are very overrated. Not just overrated, but like very overrated. There's a touch of sweetness in it. This is very like salty, bready. I don't know. My feeling is these are gonna taste just like eating Goldfish and then having a separate experience of sparkling wine. I don't think there's gonna be any mingling. I think they're just gonna both be doing their own thing. All right, first and foremost, I owe all of the Goldfish fans out there a sincere apology. These are pretty good. I like Goldfish. I thought I didn't, but they're cheesier and better than I remember. I feel like this little bag is very fresh. Like even the outer bag, it came in like another bag that was also sealed. These feel like actually they're made of cheese, which most times I feel like when I eat these, they taste like they're just reconstituted cheese cardboard. So I think there's a freshness paradigm at play. But as far as the interplay of this with this, that's gonna be a no for me, dog. This sucks, don't ever do it. This is an F. So don't mix $300 champagne with Goldfish, and buy your Goldfish fresh. You don't wanna eat old Goldfish. Those belong in the toilet, flushed. All right, cool, fruit by the foot. I don't think that this pairing is gonna work at all. This is just too sweet to have any business mixing well with this. And aren't they like 3 feet long? They only have 80 calories. Yeah, this is so cool. How genius is this? This is outrageous. This is feet. This is very cool. What a cool snack. All right, let's find out how it jives. Oh, this is not a good pairing at all. Fruit by the foot isn't good. I thought it was. It's very sweet, and it tastes like ground up Smarties made into a gelatinous long paste. It is fun. It doesn't work with this at all. It is so overpowering and so just, ugh. God, I hate it. It's like a bad Halloween in my mouth. All right, this is an F for sure. Let's move on. Look what we have here, fruit roll-ups. I don't think this is gonna be a good pairing at all. I think this is gonna be way too sweet. I think this has no chance, and I think I'm gonna regret having tasted it. And I think it's just gonna be like ruining $300 champagne by like dumping teaspoons of sugar in it. Let's get after this little bad boy. Dude, you can't even like get this open. Oh, there you go, you gotta keep going. Like peeling the plastic off of Dexter's Kill Room. This is banana, oh God. Oh, I was totally wrong. You don't peel out the parts. I thought you did peel out. Let me know in the comments if I'm crazy. I thought that you did peel them out. I don't think this is gonna be a good pairing at all. I think this is gonna be way too sweet. Its only hope would be to work on congruence, not contrast. And I just think that this is way too strong and it's not gonna have enough grip to work. So let's give it a go. It's so weird. I can't even begin to tell you how much my mouth hates the two of those together. They are absolutely assaulting one another inside of my mouth. It's hell to touch. Like the fruit by the foot is way easier to touch, and this is just like such a mess. This is an absolute F. You should never do this. Don't ever do it. It's terrible. You're gonna regret it. I promise you, you will. So don't do it. All right, I love you. Moving on, bye. Look at these absolute legends. Oh man, I love Gushers. I do not have high hopes that these two will pair together because these are just pure sugar. Whereas this is delicate and light. It's just not sweet enough to have enough grip to pull it down. But this has a very weird texture and like it is gonna coat my mouth in a way that a lot of other foods won't because of the gush. So, you know, it's possible that it could work out well, but my instinct tells me it won't. A green one. This is like the closest I got to eating broccoli as a child, was this color green Gusher. I was a fat kid. Okay, first and foremost, I remember really liking Gushers as a kid. I don't think they're very good anymore. I remember Gushers being like little explosions, little bombs going off inside my gob. I want like a big, bold gush, you know? Right in my gob, a big, thick gush. These are not that. This is a weak gush. But I do think that there was something to that whole coat your mouth thing because this did work better than I thought. I don't like it and you shouldn't do it, but it's a D. It's like, okay, it still fights a ton. You shouldn't actually go out and do it, but just, it was better than I expected. And so for that alone, it made it kind of interesting. But also, I feel like this has changed. I feel like these were better and I'm disappointed in you Gushers. Man, were our childhoods not as golden as we remember? All right, Sour Patch Kids. It's hard for me to imagine how this is gonna work well. I'm not looking forward to this one. There's some sourness in this wine because wine is acidic. That's the nature of sour things, but it's not nearly as sour as this. And there's some sweetness in this, but it's not nearly as sweet as this. And the whole concept of pairings is that if you're gonna go congruence, this has to be stronger, it's weaker. And if you're gonna go on a contrast, well, like, what is it contrasting on? Like, it is sour and sweet. This is sour and sweet, it's similar. It would really fly in the face of traditional wine pairing knowledge, but that doesn't mean it's not impossible. Sometimes things just work. So let's find out. Like, I'm gonna eat you. They're like, oh, we're kids. Please don't, mister. That's why they have all these defenses in here. I'm coming for you. Please, mister, don't, we're kids. Either way you look at that, it doesn't make sense and it's fucked up. That was horrible. I hate it. I don't really ever want to do that again, but I'm going to. Okay, the ending. Pairing $300 champagne with the back nine, as it were, of Swedish Fish, bad idea. It's an F, don't ever do it. But the sour part, the front nine, it's not doing it any favors, but it's not the worst thing. It works way better. I'd say it's a D, and it's even like leaning towards a C, but it's still a D because it's not something you should seek out doing, and I can't even recommend doing it, but it's interesting. It kind of works for the fleetingest of moments. I really thought it was gonna be not something that would work, and it kind of does, a little bit. So yeah, interesting. Sour Patch Kids is kind of both. Do you have any idea what I had to do to get these? I had to pay a real premium to some seller on Amazon. These were like $18 for these Dunkaroos. But hey, we've got Dunkaroos. So anyway, how will this pairing work? I think on the concept of this being somewhat like a real dessert. There's a chance this could work. Like, what do you mean, Dustin? What are you saying? I know it's like sugar cookies with frosting, but it kind of messages with the sprinkles and everything like cake, like a white cake with frosting. I wouldn't think though that white cake and frosting would pair well with champagne. It's just too sweet. Also would be surprised if it just absolutely sucked. Whoa, look at this. You like crack it open. Oh, this is fucking awesome. Is this how they were back when we were kids? First of all, that is legally what you have to do. These are so much sadder looking than I remember. These don't even look cooked. They look like reconstituted oatmeal germ. And oh God, this sucks. Can you see? The frosting is like a separating liquid on top of it that is very disconcerting. Did they seriously look this pale and flaccid? Does not look very appetizing. I was pretty excited about this, and now I stand unexcited. Bottoms up. Okay, honestly, it's not as bad as I thought it was gonna be. Maybe it's right where I thought it was gonna be. Yeah, it just kind of works in the same way that eating a white cake with frosting would work with champagne. Like, there's a wall of sweetness, okay? And the champagne, which is zippy and effervescent and has the ability to cut through things, does cut through, but as soon as it does, it just like closes right back up again. And you just end up not really experiencing the champagne. You just end up experiencing the Dunkaroos, but there is a moment where it kind of tastes like you're having cake with wine. It's a D for sure, any day of the week. You shouldn't try to do this.
It's pizza rolls and Bagel Bites. Oh man, and $300 bottle champagne. This is a good day for Dusty. But we're not here to talk about which of these is best. We're here to measure and find out which one pairs better with this champagne. This is a plate filled with salty, fatty, there's meats, there's processed meats, there's all kinds of fun stuff in here. So we're looking for a contrast pairing. Let's dive into the Bagel Bites. I'm really excited, just full gob. First and foremost, I am so sorry if I'm about to offend someone whose childhood is, and honestly self-worth is wrapped up in the experience of eating Bagel Bites, but those aren't as good as I remember. They're just like kinda fine, but I'm not measuring that. I'm measuring whether these two things are working together. And the truth is, they are a little bit. Yeah, they're actually helping one another. Not a ton, but it's clearly better together than separately. There's actually a little bit of congruency happening because the tomato sauce inside of the Bagel Bites is a little vinegary, it's a little sharp, and it matches the sharpness here. Like, they're like exactly the same. And so they kind of harmonize and make a really pretty thing for a moment. Ultimately, it's not that interesting. It doesn't last very long, so it's a C pairing. Oh man, this is the big one. I'm not gonna lie, I'm rooting for these, but I will remain impartial. I would never do that to you. I care too much. I'm gonna just whole gob this and hope that it doesn't scald the insides of my body. Let's do it. Whole gob. These are really close. Pizza rolls are better. They taste better. Everything about them is better. They're more interesting. They're fun to eat. You can scald yourself and potentially die. They just have it all. Danger, drama, everything. But as far as pairing with $300 wine is concerned, I gotta give it to the Bagel Bites. This is working, but lesser so than the Bagel Bites. I think that the pizza rolls, which are a bit more of a cheese and meat sensation, it's just not the same note as the Bagel Bites. The Bagel Bites have a sweet tartness to the sauce that perfectly pairs with this champagne. It's like really beautiful. These taste a little bit too much like you're just having two things next to one another. They're not really doing much to help. They're not hurting. Like, if you found yourself at a late night situation where you're ending the evening with a bottle of Armand de Brignac Ace of Spades and you're crushing some pizza rolls, first of all, that's a good night. Second of all, you're probably okay with it. It's pretty good. But as far as this battle is concerned, there's no doubt about it, because these pizza rolls are a D rating from a pairing standpoint, and the Bagel Bites, they're a C.
All right, we've got an absolute childhood classic here. It's the grilled cheese. I'm not great at plating. I'm not a Michelin chef, a Michelin-starred chef, so there's some crumbs and shit on the plate, but you get the thing. It's a grilled cheese. The way that this is gonna work, if it works, is on the concept of contrast, because there's really no sweetness in here. If it works on the concept of cutting through the fat and providing this new beautiful flavor that might contrast well with the sort of salty, creamy cheese. Let's see if that's the case. Fuck, I love grilled cheese. That's so good. Wow, that is a great pairing. If you really think about it though, a grilled cheese was built for this. It is bread, wine, and cheese. Like, it's the butter. Like, of course it's gonna work. It really works very well. It doesn't soar to new heights. It does feel like why cheese and wine go so well together. They complement each other just enough to not take away from what either of them are trying to do. This is a great pairing, and boy, if you can, I'd recommend just every grilled cheese from here on out. ought to be ace of spades a pairing. It's really very good, but it's not the most interesting pairing in the world. It's subtle, wow, but it's really good. And it's a solid B pairing. If you were on the fence about whether or not you should eat every grilled cheese with a bottle of ace of spades from Armando Brignac, you should do it. I'm giving you permission. It works, and I don't think that you'll regret it. So let's move on. Look, it's a PB&J. Peanut, and there was jelly, and there was butter. This is really interesting. So if this is gonna work, a classic PB&J, it's gonna work on the concept of congruence. Actually, it could work on contrast too, because there's the salt in the peanut butter. Ooh, this is an interesting one. So the question is, how does champagne mix into that? Is it too much contrast? Or does it pull like another harmonious triad? It's like this perfect harmony that you're just like, oh. All right, let's dive into this bad boy. Wow, I am really stoked to report that this works. It is bringing like a new angle to the PB&J. It anchors it somehow. A PB&J is such a joyful exuberance, and this wine is just adding this stability to it. It's really pretty. It's unfortunate. There is some part of it that is contrasting in a bad way. Kind of adds this new dimension of harshness around the sides of the experience, but it's really working. Like so much so that I promise you, this is a B pairing. I know that that kind of should mean that it's unequivocally better, but it's so interesting and so worth your time that I think that just the novel experience of having a PB&J a new way is gonna be really fascinating and interesting. So you should do it. Wow, we've been on quite the journey together. I cannot believe, I would never, ever in a million years have guessed that the winner, the best pairing with Armando Brignac, $300 a bottle Jay-Z champagne would be Spaghettios. Wow, I don't even like these, but I like them with this. That's so cool. Man, if you're on the fence about whether wine and food pairings are a thing and they work, try this. Now I know that's a big ask. It's an expensive bottle. I'm not gonna be buying another one anytime soon, but I think that the fundamentals of this champagne with Spaghettios should work. This is fundamentally a classic champagne. It's not, some sort of weird offshoot of the traditional formula. I've learned a couple interesting things. One, wine pairings don't work more than they do work. It's hard work to find a good pairing. So I think when you have a sommelier or a person representing the wine beverage program at a restaurant, and they do a great job pairing something with your food, maybe shoot them a compliment. This is tough stuff, and it's not exactly as straightforward as you think. Like sometimes what the book says will work doesn't. I genuinely don't like this food, but I am going to eat more because I want to eat this food with this wine. So tell me that isn't something cool to learn. All right, thank you so much for watching. By the way, if you haven't subscribed yet, now is the best time to do so. If you like this video, click like. If you want to support the channel, please check out the links below to purchase the wines from the video. It honestly helps more than you know.